Crop Progress Tuesday doesn't mean just USDA numbers. We go around the country here, and that is the case as we welcome Ben Hushon from the mill. He is in Whitehall, Maryland, and with us every Tuesday at this time, giving us an update of what's going on in his part of the world. And you sent an email saying, Mark, I want to talk about, first of all, the, quote, perfect weather we had since we talked last Tuesday. Well, great to hear.
Good morning, Mark. With a few exceptions, the folks that had some, too much rain, we've been pretty much cooler, regular moisture. I mean, 1 inch to 2 inch on Friday night, and then rain gentle all day on yesterday. So it's just about been perfect weather unless you're trying to make hay.
That's exactly right. Those guys tuning in say, hey, Ben, what about me? I'm trying to put hay up for the dairy operation here. But let's get in the field as for that in corn. And you mentioned that from the windshield looks pretty good, but some pictures here of late looking at corn pollination and what you're actually seeing.
Well, Mark, last week we talked about getting out into the field and showed some pictures of corn pollination. It's interesting. Spent a little bit more time. Now's the time to get out and look at your corn pollination. Last week we talked about looking at the leaves and seeing what they're telling you. But you can tell now if you have poor pollination, you can narrow down. Was it insects clipping off the pollen? Or did weather have some effect on that? Was in some fields on Saturday that absolutely 15, maybe even 20% of the tip was not pollinated. Gorgeous looking corn, but just was trying to pollinate at the wrong time weather-wise.
Yeah, we had that heat, of course, late July in your area as well, and some pictures of corn tip back here, 1, 2, 3 inches in some cases of tip back as far as corn. I'm going to move over to soybeans here. You talk about getting in the fields and taking a look at soybeans. You had a kind of a farmers sharing to farmers as far as beans are concerned.
We did. We have a really outstanding grower down in Baltimore County, Ed Stanfield, and he gets out in his field more. He's a former sweet corn grower, so he's used to checking fields a whole lot more often than the traditional corn and bean grower. So he actually invited 3 or 4 friends of his, other growers, and asked us to join him because we've been working very closely with him. Chris Weaver, our ag rep, has been on his farm a lot, and he said, how about, can I invite 2, 3, 4 growers over? We're going to walk through our fields and let me tell them what I look for. And it was neat to see. It wasn't done condescending or anything. It was just farmers educating farmers. And Mark, I've said for years that someone like myself, I learn more from farmers than I think I ever teach farmers, and it was a neat experience to get out and listen to what they're looking for and see what they see.
What that soybean field that you showed there, generally the condition of soybeans here, a lot of folks talking about they're low, slow growing, and looking at not even canopied yet.
Well, we've had a very good growing season. Month of May was tough. That's why some of the corn is going to looks good, but I don't think it's going to yield like we expect it to. Beans, I feel, maybe a little bit the other way around. Now, this particular grower, in the picture I sent in, those beans were podded clear to the top. There were new blooms, but this is a grower who isn't spreading fertilizer in March and spraying Roundup in June and saying, that's enough. He is tissue sampling, putting foliar fertilizer prescriptions on as needed, and it's again, we couldn't believe it. There was clusters of blooms. You couldn't really make them out in that picture. Clusters of blooms right at the very top of belly button high soybeans.
Well, how about that? Well, thanks for taking us on the tour this morning and the pictures to go along with that, Ben. Appreciate that, and we look forward to an update a week from today.
All right, Mark. I hope your viewers and listeners have another safe week.
Absolutely. Ben Hushon, you as well. From the mill, check out his website. Great information no matter where you are in the country. Ben Hushon with us each week at this time. We'll take a break. I'll get you caught up in the grain and livestock future as we come back after this. Again, our thanks to Ben Hushon from the mill, joining us every Tuesday. And as promised, we'll get you updated now on what the futures are doing, grain and livestock. Let's go to Chicago. Here we go. Corn, after a higher close yesterday, taking a little bit back today. Not all. Right now, anyway, down to about 2.5 cents. December new crop is down 2 1/4, 3.84 Not been that wide a range here, about a nickel high to low so far today in that December futures. But again, bottom line, down 2 1/4. Soybean trade, again, our conditions showing across the country here. Soybeans improved 1%, but still only 60% good to excellent. So futures adding another 6 to 8 cents here. November up 8 1/4 at 9.78. That's 9.79 3/4, the high today so far. So we're about 1 3/4 from our high, but up over 8 cents. Let's take a look at the wheat trade. Wheat lower to start the day, still is lower. September Chicago down 2 1/4. Kansas City, by the way, September Chicago closed higher yesterday. First time that's happened since July the 28th. Gives you an idea how much pressure there has been in the wheat trade. Kansas City, the nearby September, right now down 2 1/4, 464.5. Minneapolis just a little bit higher early on. We go to Minneapolis, and the September contract right now is up 1.5 pennies, 7.28. High today at 7.35. Looking at the cotton trade right now, cotton higher 13 points here, and the October 71.35. December more active even as October. The harvest month of December 70.68, up 13. We'll talk tomorrow with our friend Tony St. James out of Texas, for one, about the cotton trade there. All right, over to livestock here. Live cattle, feeder cattle, hog futures. Live cattle are mixed. August is up 30, but October, the heavy traded right now, is down 5, 111.07. By the way, we did hear of some cattle trading in Iowa, 116, just a couple of loads late yesterday, and in Nebraska, 116, and 184, 186 carcass trade late. Again, not very many, but they were in print. But again, a mixed trade there. October down a nickel. Feeder cattle futures, wow, near limit down yesterday, a little bit back today. August up 33. October, the active trade here is up 38 points right now. And October feeders 146.58. That is up again 38 points. And then hog futures on the day. October hogs now at about a 1,800 point discount to where the cash is trading right now. Normally the 5-year average is 1,600. August lean hogs up 28 though, 83.68. The high today just short of 84 here, Janet. 83.92 is the high, so they continue to defy a lot of folks who thought the highs were in for August, but they continue moving higher.
Lo and behold.
That's right.
Thank you very much, Mark.
You bet.